Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
It is Thursday, and all of today's guests are brought to you by, and that includes Craig Button, standing by, are brought to you by the Vancouver Giants. The G-Men take on Tri-City Saturday night at the LEC. Puck drop 7 p.m. A reminder, the annual Teddy Bear Toss game is December 9th. Tickets are selling quickly, so get yours now. Visit vancouvergiants.com/tickets. He's a busy man. He usually joins us on a Tuesday. He's on the road, though, so as a result, a couple of days later, and that's just fine with us, TSN Scouting Director Craig Button in Anaheim, where the Habs won, and you worked the Habs game last night, if I'm not mistaken, Craig. Habs won 4-3 down in San Jose. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I think the Habs hadn't won in Anaheim in the Duck Pond since 2004. So, you watch. How do these things happen? And teams get on streaks and runs like that, but Montreal, had a real good, strong game, and certainly when you're on the road, it gives you a chance to try to, I don't know if simplify is the right word, but to kind of pay attention to certain details in your game, especially when you've lost a few in a row.
Yeah, I got confused there. Their next game is in San Jose. Last night was against Anaheim. It's been a long week, Craig. Hey, as I'm sure you can relate to, Avalanche over the Canucks 5-2 as we focus on the Vancouver Hockey Club. Canucks have lost 3 of their last 4. Is that cause for concern, or is that just something that's going to happen to every team during the course of a season?
Well, I think the first game that you looked at is the back-to-back, losing to Calgary a week ago. And McTalk had talked about it. He said that, sometimes you got to find the energy, you got to find a way to, muster up enough to win a game. Every team goes through it. So they lost that game. You can look at other games. I thought the game versus Colorado is it's hard to say a benchmark game early in the season. I think it's a good opportunity for the players and the team and the coaching staff to test themselves against a really good team. And then to come out of it knowing, okay, what did we like about our game? What do we need to do better? And what don't we like about our game? It's 2-2 at the end of 2 periods. I was keeping my eye on the game as I was doing the Anaheim game, and then I was watching some parts of it this morning. And I thought Vancouver played real strong. I thought they had some really good, strong play in that game. And then the third period comes along, and Colorado, I thought that they bumped it up. They bumped it up a little bit in terms of like putting pressure on the Vancouver Canucks. And then, when you have Cale Makar, just like the Vancouver Canucks have Quinn Hughes, they're difference makers. And Cale Makar became a real significant difference maker. If there's one area that I would look at the game last night and say, boy, this is something that we've liked about our team, but I don't think that they've got enough traction out of the bottom group of players. And they couldn't really push Colorado into an area where the top players could get out there and take advantage. And, that's something that's been really a hallmark of the Vancouver Canucks' success to this part of the year. And Colorado's a good team. And, you're going to have to understand, and the players are going to have to understand, okay, this is a different level if we want to be successful.
It was billed as Makar versus Hughes last night. At least it was here in Vancouver. Makar with the 1 goal and 1 assist. Hughes, 1 assist. He continues to lead the NHL points parade. Who do you take, Craig?
I think I'm cutting out. I didn't hear you, Donnie. I think the connection is really bad here.
Yeah, you know the audience you're talking to.
Listen, I think right now Quinn Hughes is arguably the best player in the National Hockey League. I got asked this question earlier this week, Donnie and Rick, and the question was, if Jim Rutherford or Patrick Alvin and Chris McFarland got on the phone and said, would you consider trading one for the other? Who says no? I think both teams say no. I think both players are instrumental to the success of their team. They're both different players. And I'm not going to fall back on this. Well, Cale Makar's won a Stanley Cup. I think if you reverse it and you put Quinn Hughes on that Colorado team, Quinn Hughes wins a Stanley Cup. They're both unique. So what I would say to that, and I'm not trying, like, when you look at two arguably two of the best defensemen, if not the two best defensemen in the league, and they're going to be this way for the next number of years. Why would either team want to trade them? Would Vancouver love to have Makar? Yeah. Would Colorado love to have Hughes? Yeah, they would. But I think that what should be celebrated isn't like who would you take. It would be like be darn happy that you have each of those guys on your respective teams, because they're massive difference makers and they're superstars. That's what they are. And when have we ever seen a superstar for superstar trade in the National Hockey League? I can't think of one, but that's the kind of trade you'd be talking about. I don't think either team would be jumping up and down to exchange those players. They know they'd be getting a good player back, but I think that Vancouver loves Hughes and Colorado loves Makar.
Craig, here we are at U.S. Thanksgiving, and the Edmonton Oilers are 10 points out of the playoffs. They changed the coach. They've lost 3 straight. They've given up 17 goals, down 4-0 last night. Goalie pull. How do you explain this, Craig? Like, are they ever going to get out of this rut?
Rick, I would say that all signs point to a strong no.
Yeah.
You watch their team play, and it doesn't matter who they're playing against. It seems that the same problems surface time and time again. Carolina's a good team. I mean, I couldn't believe the first period how it started. But it started that way. But they get a lead, and they find ways to lose leads. They start out poorly, and now they're playing from behind. Let's take a step back here. Last year, they had 4 career years from McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, and Hyman. They had a Rookie of the Year that stepped into their lineup, Rookie of the Year candidate, the finalist for the Rookie of the Year, and Stuart Skinner step up and really solidify the goaltending. And they had a power play that was the best in the history of the National Hockey League. So when you look at where they were able to max out on performances, and max out on special teams, power plays specifically, count on a rookie goaltender to really carry them. You're going to count on that again this year? Their defensive play is terrible. Their defensive play is careless. It's laissez-faire, and it quite frankly, it's a lack of commitment. And I don't think the players are incapable of doing it. They are not dialed in and digging in to compete. Marty St. Louis talked about his team after Saturday night's loss to Boston. And he said, quite frankly, he goes, we were soft. And he said, we were soft in the one-on-one battles, the physical battles, the puck battles. And when I watched the Edmonton Oilers play, like soft would be an improvement if they could get to that level of defensive play. Defensive effort, defensive commitment, defensive intensity, defensive competitiveness. It runs through the whole team. And until that, you could put any coach you want behind the bench. The players have to make a commitment, and the coaches have to hold them accountable. Those two things right now are lacking in a big way. 96 points to make the playoffs in the West. That's my cutoff point. And right now, the Oilers have to go 42, 21, and 1 to get to 96 points. Good luck. That's what I'm saying to the Edmonton Oilers. And nobody could see this coming. And you watch the picture. I don't know if you've seen the video of McDavid and Draisaitl on the bench.
Yeah,
I think that's the picture that speaks 1,000 words.
It does. Craig, one Canadian team no one's talking about, Winnipeg, 4 straight wins, second best Canadian team. Kyle Connor, just one of the silent superstars in the league, 14 goals in 18 games. But what about Winnipeg? Are you surprised they're doing this well? They had a lot of turmoil last year.
They sure did. And I go back and Kevin Cheveldayoff, after the turmoil the year before, they changed the coaches. Paul Maurice steps down, Dave Lowry steps in, then they change the coach. Rick Bowness comes in. They change the captain, and a team that was playing very well right up until All-Star break, call it, last season, then really fumbled, and then they stumbled. Well, Kevin Cheveldayoff believed in that group, and he said no more. So Blake Wheeler has moved out. Pierre-Luc Dubois is traded. And Adam Lowry at the beginning of the year, he said, the 3 players we got from LA probably aren't as good as Pierre-Luc Dubois individually. He said, but we're a better team with those 3 players in our lineup. Now, Velarde got hurt early. Capari's out now for a little stretch. Velarde's ready to return. They're bigger, they're faster, they're deeper. And I think that really helps a team be successful in this league. I thought they were lighter down their forward group, and it extends that upper group. And I think they ran into problems. They're a harder team to play against now. And, Hellebuck and Scheifele saying, we want to be here. We want to be part of the success. And their play, and they stepped up in a big way. So I don't just think that the changes that Kevin Cheveldayoff made. I think the mood of the team changed. And I think that has been really instrumental in their success this year. Interestingly enough, we saw the situation with Rick Bowness and his wife, her health issues. And I mean, all signs point to they're trying to find answers, and, they'll continue to find it. But Scott Arniel has stepped in behind the bench in Rick Bowness's absence. And I never had a doubt that Scott would be the coach that would take over from Rick when Rick decided to step down. Scott's done an unbelievably great job with that group and got players to play in different areas and allowed some of the younger players to play, and they're rolling along pretty good.
Yeah, both Scott and Rick, former members of the Canucks coaching staff. Okay, Craig, you are the TSN scouting director. TSN's Core 4 NHL team rankings, their under 24 prospects pool, that landed today on your website. And also earlier this week, top 50 NHL affiliated players under 24. A lot of this has to do, the Canucks are ranked number 5, by the way, in the Core 4. A lot of this has to do with Tom Wielander. What can you tell us about his development at Boston University?
Well, and don't forget about Lekaramaki, because Jonathan's been really good in the SHL. He's going to be a frontline player for Sweden at the World Junior Tournament coming up here in December. But Tommy made a decision that he wanted to go play in North America and play college hockey. His decision was, I want to play against bigger, stronger players, more mature players, on a regular basis on the smaller NHL rink to get myself acclimated. He made that decision over a year ago, longer than that. And because he goes, I might get some time in the SHL, but it's not going to be the time I need to really continue to develop his game. He's playing for a heck of a coach in Jay Pandolfo. Jay, with his playing experience, with his coaching experience in the NHL, and now coming back to college, I think it's an ideal situation for Tommy. And I think for Tommy being able to learn that it's not all about points. And Jay Pandolfo played with one of the greatest defensemen that ever played in Scott Niedermayer. And Scott Niedermayer could have scored 95 points if he wanted to, but he understood there was more to the game than just points. And Tommy Wielander, to me, has that style of game. I don't know if I've ever told you who I think my comparable for Tommy is. I think it's Charlie McAvoy. Big, heavy, hard defenseman that can play 25 minutes a night and help you in every critical area of the game. And his development at BU has been really significant and really strong. And another player I have no doubt will be on the Swedish team at the World Junior Tournament. And maybe he should be on the team. I don't see 7 better defensemen than Tommy Wielander. I don't see 4 better defensemen than Tommy Wielander available for their junior team.
Esposito, I know there were other players involved, but Esposito for Park back in 1975, superstar for superstar. Would you go with that?
There you go. See,
it's been a while.
Listen, Donnie, good on you. I think that qualifies. Was Carol Vadnais part of that trade too?
He was, yeah. It was Espo and Vadnais.
That's a big time trade. That's a big trade.
And John Rattel, Brad Park, John Rattel, and Joe Zanussi ended up in Boston. But Park was I underrated
Hall
star.
Of Famer, Brad Park Hall of Famer, Phil Esposito Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Yeah, Donnie, you have carried the day here. Yes, this has happened before.
You know what? I'll tell you what. I guarantee you, somebody in our Delaney's OK Tire and Langley inbox will say, "Taylor, you don't know what you're talking about." Here's another example. Guarantee that'll happen. Enjoy Anaheim, Craig. Thanks so much for this.
I will. It's American Thanksgiving. Guess what I'm eating tonight?
Well, I know what you're watching. Hopefully hockey, but some NFL football too. Thanks, Craig. Appreciate it.